very warm welcome to our international session right now on the Berlin campus. My name is Lena Schottke and I'm the director of the ICN Berlin campus. We would like to give you some insights on how it is to study at ICN Berlin, but I don't want to do that alone because I think the best to learn about the campus would be from either a student or one of our professors. So I have one of our students, which is Flora. She studied in our certificate course, Entrepreneurship in Good Company, and she will share right now some insights on her final project of the course first. And from the professor's side, we have Burçin Güklü. She will introduce herself right now as well, but we will start with a small introduction into the project of Flora. So Flora, the floor is yours.
Yes, hello everyone. So I would say that the goal of the certificate in Berlin is to research and think about an idea of startup, and more importantly, the startup of tomorrow. So, and all of these things while being in the Berlin creative atmosphere. So it could be a startup in the digital industry or around new recent global trends like upcycling or green energy. So the main idea is to work around sustainability. So at the same time, economic, social, and environmental sustainability. Our group decided to create a shopping app called Close to You, which was to allow people to buy from their local stores their products. So on our app, it could be seen as an Amazon for local shops. And so it could be from butchers, groceries, libraries, but also clothing shops. And so the idea is to help the stores which were hindered by the coronavirus pandemic, and some of them had to close. So it was to offer them visibility on our platform and at the same time promoting the local economy. We also decided to choose a mobile app because nowadays everyone uses a cell phone and uses apps. And also delivery apps are also really popular nowadays due to the COVID. So our business idea is socially sustainable because we want to promote buying from struggling local shop instead of the giants like Amazon. It's also economically responsible because we managed to make money as a first year thanks to our financial projections, and environmentally sustainable because our deliveries will be made by bike or electric cars. And so all in all, we founded this project as a group, and we also got a lot of help from our teachers, and it was a really interesting opportunity. And also, if you already have an idea of startup, it's also a great thing to come to Berlin and try it out with the teachers. So it's a great opportunity.
Okay, Flora, you wanted initially to go to Russia, if I recall correctly, but due to the pandemic, you had to go for other options and decided to come to Berlin in the end. So what do you think is special about studying in Berlin?
Well, I think, first of all, Berlin is a capital of a country. So when I couldn't go to Moscow, I decided to then look at other cities in Europe. And so when I saw that Berlin was available, it was really great for me. But also Berlin is a brand new campus. So it just opened this year. And so the school is located in the city center of Berlin. So it's very easy to access with transports. Also the classrooms are really modern. It's special also because Berlin is very modern while being also full of history, and you all get to enjoy Berlin in an English-speaking environment. So it's great if you don't speak German. You can visit and discover Berlin, and also the student life of Berlin is also really great. Due to COVID, I couldn't really enjoy a lot of bars or clubs, but it's still a really good city for students and young adults.
Okay, thanks. So now I would like Burçin to introduce herself. She was part of the Entrepreneurship in Good Company program as well. So maybe you tell us a bit more about your background and what you were teaching or what you are teaching in ICN.
Of course. Thank you very much, Lena. Thank you very much, Flora, for this nice introduction. So my name is Burçin Güçlü. I'm a professor of marketing at ICN, and I'm located to Berlin campus. I'm in charge of, let's say, a knowledge area of digital subjects, which also includes the coordination role of the digital management program.
Okay, perfect. And I mean, you just relocated recently to start your job at ICN to Berlin. What are your favorite places, things to do in Berlin? I know you have been a bit in a difficult situation as Flora with the pandemic of not being able to enjoy Berlin as much as we would usually do. But do you have some recommendations for the students? Why should they go to Berlin?
So, I mean, of course, I have gone through this difficult times, but also my advantage is that I live a life of an expat here in Berlin. And I would say I'm also a member of expat portals. And I can tell that let it be a professional, let it be a student, expats are very happy here because, you know, the city is very rich in terms of job opportunities, and then in terms of also in terms of entertainment, culture, and you really feel like you're at the heart of Europe. So if you want to seek this, let's say, not only professional, but also life experience, I believe that Berlin is really the place to be. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I shouldn't give my opinion there because I'm living already so long in Berlin that I'm somehow not impartial anymore. But yes, I like living in Berlin. Plus, I mean, being in the center of Europe, you can travel everywhere. Poland is just 1 hour away, which is a very nice country as well. So there are a lot of opportunities of things to discover around. Flora, part of the program was that you went, for example, to several startup hubs because Berlin is known for its startup environment. So maybe you can share your experience with those startup hubs because I think you met some pretty interesting people there and gathered some experience. What was like the biggest takeaway from that session or those sessions?
Yes, so with our classroom, we all went to visit some co-working spaces in Berlin. And during this time, we had the opportunity to meet the startup founders and so see where they work. There were many interesting business ideas. For example, one of them was to create a website where you could order a ready, custom-made furniture in wood. So, and it worked really well, and it worked so well that the CEO decided to go into a startup to promote building constructions. And so we went in the real estate companies. There also one startup that was really striking to me because I remember the idea was really novel. It was an idea of a website where you can store all your insurances contracts, especially life insurances. And so when you die, your family can go to the website and claim all the money that is due to you. And it seems that every year a lot of money is not asked by families in case of someone's death because they didn't know something like that. And so this money is lost to the insurance company. And the startup's idea is to not lose this money and give it back to the people that is due to. And so it was a really interesting idea. And so it was really striking to me. And they all work together in one space, and so they can learn from one another. Some startups need a marketing digital advice and can go to digital marketing startups, etc. So it was really interesting.
Yeah, that's what we usually try to do, to integrate professionals into our teaching, or do company visits and go with the students to see different companies. So they gather insights, they work with the companies, they have projects like, for example, in the event module marketing, we have a guy from an event agency who basically this year let the students organize or develop a concept for the Reeperbahn Festival in Hamburg. If you know Reeperbahn in Hamburg, then you know that's a huge thing. So students usually get applied tasks, or we work with the consulting companies for the finance sector. So it's important to integrate this professional dimension into the teaching. The students do not just learn read their texts and they're away from like how it would be then in work context. Burçin, I know you integrated quite some professionals into your teaching as well. Maybe you can share with us who visited your classes.
Sure. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I have, let's say, I was in charge of a subject called e-commerce and e-mobility. So, and also I was in charge of another subject, which was smart city project. And for this reason, I had to contact some professionals that I could host, like that were also from this Berlin context. And it was honestly not so difficult because, you know, Berlin is very famous with its startup, let's say, ecosystem. And also there are many digital companies. So like, you know, when I even started talking to people, at one point I had to say, okay, I have enough guest speakers. And also people were very willing to come to the class because it is really important here that the academia has a connection to the industry, and that it's also important for industry to have a connection to academia. So I invited professionals from Here Technologies, which is a smart city company based in Berlin. Also another professional from Karim by Uber, which is also based in Berlin. And also I also hosted some independent, let's say, freelance consultants in this digital sector, like in the digital marketing and digital strategy sectors that were really known for their success in their projects.
Yeah. And I think the students really enjoyed gathering those insights into how does work really look like. And that's why we integrated internships in our studies. Usually the masters are 2 years, and there's a 3 months internship at the end of the first year and a 5 months internship at the end of the second year. If students want, they can take a gap year in between either to go abroad or to do an internship, or both, whatever they like to do. So in total, it's mandatory to at least have 8 to 9 months of work experience when graduating, and often the last internship is the starting point for students where they start in the company. So, Burçin, would you like to share a bit the experience from ICN? Where do our students, when they graduate, start? Where do they do their internships? Because I think that the job perspective in the end is very interesting for many prospects.
So what I see is that they are usually making it to, let's say, those giant consulting companies such as KPMG, Ernst & Young, and they are not only limited to Germany, or they are not only limited to France. We see a lot of people making it to Luxembourg because there are those internship positions that are in the area of finance, and we have some, let's say, a lot of students that are interested in, let's say, fintech, that they call so finance and tech together. And that's what I see. So like KPMG, Ernst & Young, and also PwC, and similar, let's say, maybe also some smaller companies, like some startups that also that are not so much known, but still they occupy important, let's say, they are likely to become unicorns, and so they are looking a lot for students that have some knowledge of digital management.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, even for the other programs, we have a finance program, the marketing program as well. So in marketing, they often start in agencies or in the marketing department of a company. And when it comes down to finance, it's a bit a matter of where do they specialize? Is it then risk management, or do they become an account manager? Flora, in comparison, ended up in her internship somewhere completely different in the end at the French embassy. So how did you get there, and what is actually your job? What are you doing in the embassy?
So my major is not finance. It's the management of the creative industries. So during my first internship, I did it in an art gallery in Paris, but I wanted to still work in the cultural field, but this time maybe in a public enterprise. And so when I arrived at Berlin, I liked the city so much that I looked at internship opportunities there. And I saw an offer for the Institut Français. It's a cultural branch of the embassy. And so my internship is in digital marketing and communication of the French language school of the French embassy. So I'm in charge of communicating about the French courses that are done by the embassy in Berlin, but also in the 10 branches of the embassy in all Germany. So I do a lot of meetings with other teachers and also other digital marketing officers. Yes, for now, I work mostly from home because I can't go to work as much as I want, but I still go to the embassy once a day in Berlin, once a week. And so I get to meet a lot of different people, and it's very interesting. And I think it's a great opportunity to finish my studies in such an enterprise.
Yeah, definitely very exciting to be there. I think it's a good experience to gather and from there to go further somewhere else. Okay, so the studying, the campus, study programs, that's of course one thing that you can do in Berlin. If you heard the session before already, Berlin is very international. There are a lot of things to do, people from all walks of life. So whatever you like, that's at least my opinion, you will probably find it in Berlin. So Flora, if you had to recommend like the 3 favorite things that you are doing in Berlin to someone who wants to come to Berlin, what would it be?
First of all, it would be to go to the many parks that are in Berlin, because contrary to Paris, Berlin is full of nature. And so it's really, really great to go to the parks and enjoy the nature and go to picnic. There are also beer gardens, which are outdoor places where we can have a drink. It's really, really nice experience. There's also a museum island, which is an island full of museums, and I believe it's on the UNESCO list. Yes, and so it's really, really beautiful. The buildings are really huge. Unfortunately, I could only go to one before it closed, but I think it's something you have to do.
Did you see already Nofretete?
No, I only went to the Altes Museum.
Okay.
So I couldn't go to see the Egyptian museum. Yes, and also yeah, the other thing you can do in Berlin is go up the tower, the Fernsehturm, which is a really high tower, and just like the Eiffel Tower, you can have a look from above. So
and I think it's spinning as well, right?
Yes, yes. There's a restaurant, and you can have a coffee, and yeah, it's really interesting.
Okay, thanks, Flora. Pushin, what do you think are like the top things that you should do in Berlin?
Well, I would like to start with learning German. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's, I mean, I see here, for example, I mean, I also lived abroad, for instance, I lived in Spain for 10 years. And also I'm now living in Berlin, and what I see is that there is a, let's say, the government is incentivizing a lot people to learn German, to take integration course, to take German culture. I think, so having received the support from government, I would say it's an asset, and that one should make use of. Of course, I would also recommend our students to build a network already. Like, for example, when I came here, I saw that there are, let's say, many professionals in this digital sector. So I started being a member of expat communities to approach people. And other than that, of course, I definitely agree with Flora that you should make use of the parks and sports opportunities. For example, we love, with my husband, we love very much going out cycling. We go out for very long paths, especially in summertime. The daylight is very long, so you can cycle for a very long time, and you can visit lakes. You can take a swimming break when you visit the lakes. And also Berlin is known for having one of the best air qualities in Europe. As you know, as smart city professor, I follow such news. And also, like, you know, once Corona times are over, I'm very much looking forward to visiting museums, because, for instance, Pergamon Museum is very famous here. And I'm originally Turkish, and for me, it's very important to see Pergamon Museum, because these are some pieces that were sent from Turkey to Germany. And I'm really very much looking forward to cultural activities, having some, joining some cultural activities also.
Yeah, that's probably like one of the things that Berlin is most known for all those festivals and cultural activities that you can have there. But I agree with you, like for the nature lovers, they will find whatever they like here as well. I mean, we had the wall around the city, so that's right now a walking, hiking and cycling track. So you can follow, I think it's 180 kilometers of the wall that surrounded Berlin. So that might be interesting in terms of history and in terms of some cycling, hiking, whatever you like. But yes, we have, I mean, I know students do not do parties, they don't go to parties, but we have, when everything is open, some quite nice places to go out, some nightlife. And Berlin is supposed to be the city that never sleeps. So we have even the public transport running basically 24 hours. I mean, and maybe the bus just comes every 20 or every 30 minutes, but there is public transport all night as well. So yeah, there, whatever you like to do, you will probably find it here in Berlin. There are great activities, and hopefully soon we will be able to enjoy them again. I mean, I'm quite positive about the developments, the vaccinations and everything, that we will be able to teach on campus again in September. But of course, we have to see how the situation evolves and see what the government says in the end. Okay, now that we talked a bit about what you can do, and you probably heard as well about ARTEM as well, because ARTEM is very important in ICN, this transdisciplinary approach of basically challenging our students and developing something new, being innovative and creating solutions to current challenges. If you heard the session before, they talked a bit about ARTEM, and Stefan Sonnenburg, who is teaching at Berlin campus as well, he's part of the Artipreneur 3.0 project, where they work, for example, with artists, and they are working on an event that they want to present now online. So it's usually a mixture of different disciplines, or we have an ARTEM project on social entrepreneurs, where basically our students support a cause they are very committed to, like animal welfare or things like that, and they develop communication campaigns for them. So I think that's a very nice thing as well. Flora, which ARTEM workshops did you do during your studies?
When I was in my first year of master at Nancy, I attended the Anglo-Saxon Project Management ARTEM workshop. which aim was to introduce students to the business environment and the culture in countries where the Anglo-Saxon influence is strong. So Canada, Ireland, the US, the UK, also Australia. And we had to learn at the same time how to start a business in those countries. So we had civilizations courses, almost like historical courses about the countries, which was a great break from the management courses. There was also business plans courses, contract management courses, but also creativity courses. And so we worked with engineering students. Unfortunately, there was no art students the year I did the workshop, but I believe every year there are. And so with all the students, we had to come up with a business plan at the end of the year and create our own enterprise. So I would say it's very similar to the certificate in Berlin, but in Berlin, it's more centered around Germany and sustainability. For the workshops, it was more about learning from everyone's strong points and work together. So the engineering students were good with numbers and very technical things, while the management students were really creative and thinking about how to do the best enterprise, etc. So it was really interesting.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Okay, and now for the ones who might be interested, okay, if I want to study at Berlin campus, what are the requirements and what do I have to bring basically? Would you like to give some insights on what do have students or what are the requirements if you want to study at Berlin campus?
Sure. I mean, I basically, so I mean, and also logically, so after all, this is we are talking about Master of Science program, so which means that you need to have an undergraduate degree. So if you have a, let's say 180 credits undergraduate degree, which is like 3 years undergraduate degree, or then you can make it to Master of Science 1 and then continue to Master of Science 2. Or sometimes like students are interested in, let's say, 4 year, let's say, starting from the second year, then you need to be, let's say, if you have a 4-year undergraduate degree, which corresponds to 240 credits, then you can make it to Master of Science too. But on the other hand, if you're interested in making it directly to Master of Science 2 and you have 3-year degree, then what we are looking at is whether you have relevant work experience and also like, you know, you don't come just as numbers or titles, you come up as a full package, like you're looking at your English level, some exams that will accreditate your level of English, also like other qualifications altogether is part of the admission process. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, so far some insights on the Berlin campus. Thank you very much, Flora, for helping us showing prospects, how student life is in Berlin. And thank you to you, Bojan, as well, to sharing from the professor's side. If you have any further questions, do not hesitate to get back to me. If you happen to be in Berlin and you want to stop by the campus, if it's allowed, then no problem. Feel free to contact me anytime. And then thank you for your time. And I wish you a very nice afternoon.